class is for posers who can't afford to fly private. The rich have no idea how real people live. Fake designer bags are for poor people trying to look rich. Aside from being completely off base, I've always been struck by how common misconceptions about a particular group can quickly create such a divisive we versus they attitude. Needlessly. In fairness, with influencers flexing all over social media and wealth-based shows like The Real Housewives, American Greed, and MTV Cribs, a stereotype of how rich people live and what they're like has been created that, quite honestly, is very far from reality. In today's video, I am sharing the biggest misconceptions that people have about the wealthy. By the end of this video, I really hope to soften walls and bring people together with the realization that we're all just simple human beings who are more alike than we are different. Let's put down our guard, open our mind, and let's do this. Ladies, at a macro level, let me say this about rich people, and that's the last time that I'll do rabbit ears. Everyone expresses their wealth differently. You've got those who are annoyingly all extra, making it a point to boast and flaunt themselves publicly, waving their checkbook, to the subtle, nice person in back of you in the grocery line, and everything in between. TV and social media have really done a disservice creating a fake stereotype that has done nothing but create anger, resentment, divisiveness, and serve to make people feel bad about themselves and bad about their own situation or their own lives. Number one, if you have to ask, you can't afford it. This is the biggest myth by far, and whoever said it first had no clue what they were talking about. There's no shame in asking for the price, and in actuality, it's smart business. Most wealthy people did not amass wealth by saying, "Wrap it up, Jeeves," without asking how much it is and usually trying to negotiate a better price. Be smart with your money. Asking what something costs doesn't mean you can't afford it. It means you're a smart consumer. Rich people live extravagantly. Sure, sometimes they do. And to some extent, what seems normal and reasonable to them is going to seem extravagant to others. The truth is that most wealthy people are very mindful about what they're spending. They scan the bill to make sure it's correct. They'll look to negotiate a better price. They'll say, "I'm not paying X for Y," if they feel it's overpriced and not worth it. In short, just because you can, doesn't mean you should. Also, it's important to note that everything's relative. Undoubtedly, your lifestyle is luxurious to somebody else that's less fortunate than you are. Maybe you have a modest apartment, food in the cabinet, a car to drive to and from work. To others who are just struggling to keep a roof over their head, your lifestyle is luxurious to them. It's all relative. Number three, one of my favorites, they only fly private. This one I found really funny. I did a video about flying first class for beginners because, I always like to share things with you. And one woman made this comment: "First class is for people who can't afford to fly private." Far from being offended, my immediate reaction is that this woman has no clue what she's talking about. The truth is, some do only fly private, some fly it every once in a while, others not at all. Just because you can doesn't mean you want to or that it's valuable to you. Sometimes commercial is just faster and easier, and other times you just flat out don't feel like spending the money no matter how much of it you have. Think of how many times you've seen celebrities walking through LAX or seen on the news a celebrity behaving badly and being kicked off of a flight. They were flying commercial. I have a friend who owns a small fleet of private planes. We wanted to go somewhere pretty quickly and at the spur of the moment, and we both booked a Southwest ticket and flew Southwest. They don't worry about money. No, more money, more problems. But seriously, that's not really true. And again, everything is relative. Once you make it, the next steps are keeping it and then growing it. There can be anxiety around investments, taxes, or downturns in the economy that may affect his or her business. Also, there are some people that, regardless of their net worth, live far beyond their means. Translation, they over-leverage themselves. So while the woman with the mansion, the fleet of cars, the full staff, the kids in private school may look wealthy, what you're actually doing is seeing their entire net worth front facing forward, where they've got very little in the bank. For that type of a situation, there are undoubtedly worries about keeping all of the wheels turning in order to then maintain the lifestyle. Wealthy people have no budget. Listen, everybody has a budget. Everybody. Some are just much larger than others. Personal story, I went to a private high school. I came from a hardworking military family. We went there with the help of financial aid and my parents really tightening their belts. Consequently, I had a lot of friends who came from families with a lot of money. Many times they would come to school Monday morning with brand new Ralph Lauren outfits, which was the thing to wear when I was in high school. And I thought, oh my gosh, that would be so cool. One day, when I'm really, really rich, I'm gonna walk into any store that I want and just say, I want that, and that, and buy everything that I want. The fact of the matter is, when when we got to a point where I could do that, I didn't. I weigh it, I think of whether or not I want it, how would I wear it, is this worth spending the money? And I really think about what I'm spending. Not all, but many wealthy people are actually quite disciplined about what they're spending and managing their money overall, just like you. They're always jetting off someplace glamorous. Not necessarily. The truth is, many have busy schedules, obligations, and prioritize home life, a cozy night watching movies with sushi and frozen yogurt just like you. They only wear expensive clothes. I dare say almost the opposite. Although many certainly appreciate high quality clothes and you'll see pretty shoes and designer bags, a classic Chanel jacket or gorgeous cashmere coat, for example, it's usually for special events, galas, a night out, things like that. On a day-to-day basis, most dress comfortably and down to earth just like you. Also, the vast majority of wealthy people avoid ridiculous branding or showing obvious signs of wealth with what they're wearing. Serving as a walking billboard for every designer that you can fit on your body is seen as trying too hard. They have opulent, off-the-hook homes. Okay, sometimes, sure, but remember, people express their wealth differently. So while some wealthy people certainly have opulent, off-the-hook, ridiculous homes, like you need an intercom to find the rest of your family, others choose something more subtle, comfortable, very nice, but not over the top. They hire staff to do everything. While some do have extensive full-time staff, personal chef, cleaning team, gardener, house manager, driver, personal assistant, nanny, most have a hybrid just enough to take the edge off, like housekeepers and a gardener to do the heavy lifting, but actually enjoy things like light gardening or maybe cooking a meal or running a few errands his or herself. They have no idea how real people live. I find this one especially annoying because you know what, you guys? Everybody is a real person living a real life. It might be different from yours, but it's just as real nonetheless. The truth of the matter is that many wealthy people come from humble or middle class beginnings. They know full well what it means to struggle and to worry about paying the bills every month. Many know exactly how it feels laying in bed at night, calculating expenses, thinking about whether or not the paycheck is going to stretch. Many of them also help people and organizations on the down low anonymously. They do it without fanfare because they understand how fortunate they've been and they put value in giving back to the community and in giving back to other people without the need for attention on them. Being rich makes you so happy. If that were the case, nobody in Hollywood would ever get divorced or be depressed or commit suicide, and we all know that that happens. Money does not inherently bring long-term happiness. Here's the deal. Money can buy you safety, comfort, security, and luxuries that help to make life a little less stressful. What it cannot do is turn you into a happy person. Just as being poor or average doesn't make somebody miserable, being rich doesn't necessarily make you happy. No matter where you go, there you are. Everyone works at being happy, and it ebbs and flows throughout your life. There are times in life when everything really is perfect. That's your flow. Other times it feels like a freaking grind. That's your ebb. Life's ebb and flow is a universal experience for everyone, and the number of zeros in your net worth will not protect you from that. In the end, rich, poor, or somewhere in between, we're all just people on our own paths. Rich people buy only the very best. Rarely. As I've said before, most wealthy people are very savvy with their money, spending it on things they value or going cheap or mid-level on things that really aren't that important to them. I'm from Seattle, home of Microsoft. For years, the funny rumor around town is that Bill Gates would drive around in an older model Honda, and it was true, he did. It's usually those who are very down to earth with a degree of humility and a modicum of confidence, knowing that they don't have anything to prove, and so they do what they please. In other words, you can never always judge a book by its cover. True story, when I was working at Nordstrom, it was right after high school, and I was an assistant manager in the Brass Plum. It was a very high volume junior department. There was a little lady there that was shopping the sale rack, and none of the other salespeople would go over and help her. And I thought, oh my gosh, poor lady. So I went over and I helped her. She wanted only things from the sale rack, and she was looking at them, and she put them back. She'd look at it and say, do you have anything cheaper? Got up to the front desk, ran her card, and I looked at it. It was Ilsley Nordstrom. She was one of the original Nordstrom brothers' wives. She had more money than anybody could shake a stick at. Don't judge a book by its cover. They're all materialistic. Okay, so if your only exposure to the wealthy is through social media, and even some of those people aren't wealthy, they just pretend to be, let's be honest. Celebrity features and wealth-based shows like Housewives or American Greed or MTV Cribs, I can see exactly how you would feel that way. I think they're annoying too. The truth is, things like Housewives and Million Dollar Listing are TV shows. The people in them are hamming it up for the camera. They're being all extra for the show and the brand. That's the role. I promise you, hanging around in everyday life, no cameras whatsoever. They are not made up, dressed head to toe, dripping in golden Chanel bags. They're just not. What you see is a made-for-TV facade, just like any economic class. Some are super materialistic and annoying, and others are not. They're just down-to-earth, really normal people. I know some middle-class women who are extremely materialistic. They're always trying to one-up their friends, just at a different level. Being materialistic, being a not nice person, doesn't have any socioeconomic barriers. It runs all across the board. You ladies know that. In the end, many wealthy people value the same things that you do. Their family, their health, their well-being, friends, and living a happy, peaceful, fulfilling life just like you do. We're all people in it together, doing the very best that we can. Be kind to each other, have a great weekend, and I'll see y'all Tuesday.